What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to help you build your own branded persona so that you can move on from those generic ChatGPT responses and give your audience exactly what it's looking for. The first prompt that we're going to be working on is building our brand persona. And in order to do so, we must first extract more information about our business. Who is our target audience? What is our brand voice? What is our unique selling proposition? What are our engagement objectives? And then lastly, what is the tone and style of our writing? For this prompt, you need ChatGPT 4 and WebPilot or a similar plugin that will allow you to access a specific URL. Now, there are various ways you can get around this, but this is the easiest, so I'm going to show it. I'm telling ChatGPT that I want you to analyze my website, which is a digital marketing website, and I'm giving it the URL. You're going to analyze the content on that site and then extract all of that information I just told you. So your audience, your brand voice, your USP, your engagement objectives, and your tone and style. And this is going to be the first building block of our brand persona. If you did it correctly, you should see a response similar to the one that's on the screen right now, where it pulled out my target audience and it gave me a couple of bullet points about that. And then it did the same thing for my brand voice, my USP, my objectives, and my tone and style. And just make sure you go through this and see if it aligns with your vision of your website. In my experience, ChatGPT gets this right about 90% of the time, so there is room for error. Just make sure you go in and fine-tune the adjustments. If you want to adapt this for blogs or articles, I would just simply tweak the prompt and make it analyze your favorite blog post instead of a homepage. So let's take a look at that. So what I did is I just simply copied the URL from this article on how to write amazing content with ChatGPT, which subsequently is also the video you're watching. So it's fitting. And I dropped it within ChatGPT, and now it's going to tell me what my target audience, my brand voice, USP, engagement objectives, and tone and style are based on this article. So if it's writing in a way that it's very specific to that article, but that's not indicative of every article on your website, I would just repeat this process for a few of your articles and then ask ChatGPT to merge it. Now, I think it did a great job with what it already provided me, so I'm not going to do that, but we'll be here when you're done. So the next step is we're going to be building our personal brand persona. And we're going to be using the information that we just took from ChatGPT. But before we do that, we're going to give our persona all of the competencies, primary skills, and secondary skills necessary in order to write within our niche. So that's exactly what we're doing with this prompt. And we're going to run it and see what ChatGPT provides us. Once you're done, you should see an output similar to the one on the screen, where ChatGPT provides the persona with its core competencies, and then also some individual skills that would fulfill those competencies. And I think it did a really good job, but I'm just going to ask it, is this all? Can we round this out? Are there any other secondary skills that this prompt should have before we begin? And again, I think ChatGPT did a great job. This is providing us with even more information that we can use to build our personal brand persona. But let's say you want to kind of do a deep dive into one of these. And I saw a little earlier that it's telling me, based on the information of my website, that I offer AI expertise. And it's something that I'm really interested in. So I'm going to, again, extract more information out of that. And you can just simply do the same thing by asking it to expand on that information. So for the exact prompt, I just copied it and I entered it into our window here. And I said, can you expand on this section? I want you to provide me with a list of individual skills that I can use within the prompt persona to relay that I'm an expert in large language models and AI. Our next step is going to be actually crafting the persona. We're going to give it a name, a description, its expertise. And this is really going to make the huge difference between working with the regular ChatGPT bot and using our personal brand. And so we're telling ChatGPT to analyze all of the information that we've been working through so far, and then we're going to style it like the example that I've provided. And what makes our personal brand persona unique? Because again, we're trying to avoid just working with the generic, straight out of the box ChatGPT responses. We want it to match exactly what our audience is looking for in a style that is indicative of our personal brand. But how can we extract even more information from our personal brand persona? We're going to provide some more context to the persona in a digestible format. We're going to ask ChatGPT to give us our expertise, our level of expertise, our perspective, specialization, and then voice. And then we're going to ask it to style the output like the example that I've provided. Now, this last one here, the one that says style college reading level, this is going to be very important, and you should really alter it based on who your audience is. Now, if you're writing in a medical field and you're writing specifically for other people that are experts in medicine, then a college level would be appropriate. But for most people, it's going to be too difficult to read. And I don't say that disparagingly. There's legitimate studies out there to show that you should be writing at an 8th or 9th grade reading level for the general public. And there are a couple of different ways that you can find out what your current reading level is and how to improve it. One of the ways I do is using the Hemingway editor. If you're unfamiliar, it's a totally free tool. You just copy and paste one of your articles, you drop it in here, and it's going to provide you with your readability over on the right side of the screen and how you can improve it. Now, I'm not going to bore you with actually doing that. I just wanted you to know that this is a way for you to identify where you're currently writing and how you should be writing. To make it easier on ourselves and so that we can copy and paste it within ChatGPT repeatedly, we're just going to ask We're going to ask ChatGPT to lay it out in a way that makes it easier for us. So I'm saying starting at the top and working our way down, use the order below. And I'm just simply copying and pasting its previous answers. So we have our expertise, our level, and that section. And then we're going into our demographics, the name, the description, and the rest of that section. And then we're going to get down into the competency maps. And because there were so many of them, I'm just simply asking ChatGPT to list them. Now, I don't want a description for each of them. I just simply want what the actual competencies are, the name of them. And then we're going to do the same exact process for our skill graphs. I want you to provide the primary skills and secondary skills underneath of this section. ChatGPT should provide you with an output similar to this one, where again, it's starting with the top section, it's giving us our expertise, and this is just a very quick breakdown of what ChatGPT can expect when adopting this persona. Now, if you really want it to write in your style, you can just take a paragraph or a sentence or two and use that as an example. And you can put that in your prompt persona. And so every single time you interact with the prompt persona and it's writing something new, it'll go back to that example and it'll reflect on it and it'll write in that style. We have our competencies, we have our skills. I'm going to take it one step further and I'm going to ask it to break these skills into individual skills. And then I'm going to kind of chain them all together. Now, for brevity's sake and the length of this video, I'm not going to do it for every single one of them, but I'm going to do it for a couple of them to show you how I would do it. So the prompt I'm using is, I want you to refine the skills section. Please provide me with a list of 5 bullet point sub-skills for the following areas. And the first two are ones that ChatGPT wrote. Content creation and curation, AI-powered SEO optimization, and then I gave it a third skill that ChatGPT didn't come up with based on my website. I just kind of want to see what it's going to provide, and that's social media marketing. And then I'm giving it an example so that it knows exactly what I mean. SEO knowledge, the bullet points for this may be on-site SEO, off-site SEO, technical SEO. The sub-skills of on-site SEO would be metadata optimization, internal linking, keyword allocation, keyword research, etc. So ChatGPT finished, and its output looks great to me. It did exactly what I expected. It gave me a bullet point list of each section I listed, and then what sub-skills should chain together underneath of them to make it a more holistic approach. Now, what do you do with all of this information? Well, I'm going to show you that next. If you're looking at this screen and you're saying, what the hell is going on here? You're not alone. It took me a little while to figure this out, but I'm writing it in a way that I can feed it directly to ChatGPT, and it's going to understand the order of importance. So what are we doing here? We're asking ChatGPT to remember this prompt until told otherwise, so we don't want it to forget all of this information. We're asking it to adopt the persona that we just developed with ChatGPT. We've added the actual perspective, the level of expertise, everything else that ChatGPT provided us. I've copied and pasted the demographics for our persona, and then I started layering the competencies and the skills. So from this video, you know that I was building one that specifically can write about large language models and digital marketing. So I took all of that information that ChatGPT provided, and I just simply made it a little more digestible and easier for me to simply look at and get a better idea of what's going on. But it also provides ChatGPT with a better idea of what to look for. The second one here is SEO, and I've just simply taken the 5 bullet points that ChatGPT offered, and I've added them here. So it's going to look at number 2, which is SEO, and then it's going to go through the skill chain all the way across, reading left to right, of 2A, which is keyword research analysis, 2B, on-page optimization, 2C, off-page optimization, and 2D, technical SEO audit. Now, I didn't think that it really needed the additional information of what goes into on-page SEO, because I personally think ChatGPT has that understanding already. But if you're working in a very unique niche, I would put that information in there. Now, this is the section that's going to make this persona unique to you, because it's written for your audience within your brand voice, using your unique selling propositions, your engagement objectives. So whether you're trying to convert people to purchase a product or get them to sign up to an email list, and then writing in your particular tone and style. And guys, I'll copy this and I'll paste it in the description. So if you do want to style yours similar to mine, what I would do is I would just ask ChatGPT to take all of the information that has been building us so far and provide us an output that matches this one. Now, it doesn't have to match exactly. Again, we're just trying to make sure that it's an easy to copy and paste way, because I'm going to be using this for every single page on my website, and I don't want it to become a little unwieldy and difficult to manage. So now that we have our prompt persona, I've just entered a new window and I've copied and pasted it within ChatGPT 4. And up until this point, we've trained it to be like our audience, but also like us. So it's going to understand our audience's pain points. And this is a really great situation for us to be in, because now we can interact with our prompt persona and ask it questions that we want to learn more about our audience. So in this particular example, I'm telling ChatGPT that I'm going to write an article, and the primary topic of this article is, what do you hate most about finding a new marketing agency? Because I want to understand what those pain points are, and then I want to create something that shows I'm different. You know, instead of partnering with a marketing agency and you getting some random person, when you partner with me, you get me. And then I'm saying, please provide me with a list of ways you can help me with this project. I'm going to provide a couple of examples in the description below. But if I was using this brand persona to understand more about my audience, I might ask it, like, what information would help you be more effective at your job? And then I would create an article or a page about that. Maybe I would create a tool that would help them using ChatGPT. What social media posts are you most likely to click on? Because if I understand that information, now I can create those specific posts and either use organic social or paid social to target those people. So let's take a look at what ChatGPT provided me based on my personal brand persona. It was telling me that it could help me with research and data gathering. So that's really good. It could provide us with audience information, search intent analysis. It could help us with content structuring and development. So not only would it help us with the topic ideation, it would actually help us chain those topics together. And it'll go into a topic breakdown to make sure that we're in alignment. Because I don't want ChatGPT to just build a bunch of things without me first understanding what it's building and giving my blessing for ChatGPT to continue. This is a really strong one that I've discussed already. Pain point identification. If you know more about your audience and you can identify those pain points, you can offer a solution. I'm asking AI Todd, which is cleverly named after myself. What are the biggest marketing related concerns of brands and website? And this is going to provide us with a list. And then with this list, we can either create YouTube videos, which I'll most likely do for you guys. We can create articles. We can offer a solutions page. You really have to think about ChatGPT in an iterative process. What did it give you? How can we improve it? How can we break it down even further? But I think ChatGPT in this instance did a really great job. Using its skill in digital marketing is telling us that one of my audience's pain points is they're just simply overwhelmed with the amount of possibilities. Everywhere you look, there's a new tool cropping up. And because of that, people just don't know where to go. They don't know who they can trust. They don't know what's actually going to give them the most bang for their buck. So this might be a YouTube video that I create in the next couple of weeks. What is my workflow and what tools do I use? Here's another really great one. Social media saturation. Being able to break through the noise of every single brand publishing both organically and paid on social media. How do you make your brand voice stand out? And how do you build and provide a consistent posting schedule using your unique brand voice? Well, because we've just built a persona, we can ask ChatGPT, or whatever you named your persona, to actually create this for you. While I'm not going to show them today, there are a bunch of ways that you can interact with your new brand persona. Do you want to review the content that's currently on your website? Maybe your prompt persona can identify ways that you can improve it based on what your audience is. Do you just want ChatGPT to write something for you? Well, now it can, because again, we've specified everything that we want it to look for when writing content. So guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this process. I know that it's in depth and it takes a lot of refinement, but in the end, this new persona is going to match your output and what your audience is looking for. Long gone are the days of ChatGPT just giving you that generic antiseptic response. Your new brand persona is going to be a goldmine. Now, I just want to take a second to thank you guys, because within 10 days, you helped me grow from about 10 subscribers to nearly 200. And it really means a lot to me. Truly, it does. You've also made my top video grow to nearly 2,000 views. And I never expected this to occur. Definitely not within my first couple of weeks of trying out YouTube. Now, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe. If you didn't like this video, give it a thumbs up anyway. I really appreciate it. And we're trying to grow here. Until next time, this is Todd.